If you have been financially affected by the COVID pandemic, then this message is for you. Are you among the many folks who have lost their jobs, or if you've been furloughed, or working from home at a reduced pay? If you have credit card debt and cannot make your monthly payments, we at Debt Fix Pros can help. Call us to see how we can reduce your interest rates and lower your monthly payments. If you are struggling with credit card debt, we can help. Call 800-591-5517. That's 800-591-5517.
This is the G Podcast with your host, Tonya B.
Domestic terrorism in this country have always been rooted in white supremacy. Let's be clear about that. The actions of the 30s, 40s, up to present has been the basis of people who see certain citizens as legitimate and other citizens as not legitimate. The Klan Act was put in place to ensure Southern legislators will have the ability to exercise their sworn duties as congresspersons without intimidations and fear of retaliation. What we have seen as a result of January 6th is the need for the act to be enforced and fully because the Republicans in the Senate refused to carry out their responsibility in the face of all of the facts that Donald Trump, Giuliani, all the groups connected to them planned this out well before January 6th and carried out in a way in which they were seeking to delegitimize African-American votes across the country.
Hey, that's the voice of Derek Johnson, president, CEO of the NAACP. He was appearing on The Readout on MSNBC with Joy Reid. I just want to say on behalf, of this podcast, and I know many others are saying the same thing. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for standing up for Black people because we can't count on a large portion of political representatives in this country to do so. So I really want to say thank you, NAACP, Congressman Thompson, Congressman Hank Johnson, and the other, politicians, representatives, congresspeople, senators who understand that this January 6th thing is bigger. It was bigger than just people tearing down the Capitol. They were making an attempt to disenfranchise a whole lot of Black people. So I just wanted to I wanted to play that because and give it up because candidly and I'm gonna even give him the air horn, Y-O. Because it is what we got to do. And one of the clips I did not play, which is really just critical to what the NAACP is saying, is that we have to make them pay. I mean, this is a situation where you got to go after these guys in the pockets. So I know a lot of people want to see them in jail. No. Go after the money. So one more time, I just got to... I just got to do it. Tonya B, I just got to do it.
Clap it up.
You know what I'm saying? I'm so proud of the NAACP for fulfilling its mission and really going after these guys with the Klan Act. And we're going to get to our guest who's a member of the NAACP in our area. And I bought her on. We didn't even know this was going to happen the week she was going to come in. But I wanted to bring her in really to acknowledge a lot of the great things she's doing in the community. But let me I jumped the gun. Welcome to the G Podcast. This is episode 70. And you know what? I'm gonna give this up one more time. Episode 70. Happy birthday, born day, John Lewis. On this day, as we tape the podcast, John Lewis was born in 1940. Where would we be without the efforts of John Lewis? Especially, me growing up in Atlanta or just nationally for what he did with SNCC and all the organizations working with Dr. King. So happy born day. We need to be working to try to get a day for John Lewis as well. So that's something that should be happening in the future as well. So, but
I agree.
Yeah, go ahead, Tonya.
There are a lot of people that are out and about. Again, I live in his district. I don't say live, but to me, he's the spirit is still there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are at the mural of John Lewis today over, in Sweet Auburn District in Old Fourth Ward. So people, how do you forget someone like John Lewis?
You can't.
But then again, you drive up and down the streets in this area, he's on murals. Someone even painted a Georgia Power,
Wow.
the power boxes they have.
Wow.
Actually has the image of John Lewis on it. So you really can't go too far around, the downtown area of Atlanta without seeing an image of John Lewis.
Nor should you. So, kudos.
Agreed.
Happy born day, John Lewis. But this is the G podcast. Each week we do news, politics, pop culture. I know Tonya B is bringing that piping hot tea, and Y-O, you got that woke news for us a little bit later on as well.
That's right.
Yeah, but our guest is here, and Vi's here, y'all. We're gonna give him a chance to get himself together because he just logged on. But hey, Vi, good to see you, man. But our guest, I don't want to keep her on too long. I promised her, to keep her within a window. But I grew up in East Point, and part of my initial podcast was called GP3 because the first half of my life I spent in Grove Park, in the Grove Park area in Northwest Atlanta. But really, I came of age 76 to 94 in East Point. Proud of the city, learned a lot, truly an amazing experience. And I'm so excited because I had a chance, my good friend, Vince the Voice, introduced me to Karen Rene. She's a council member, East Point, as well as VP, I think second VP at the NAACP, Fulton County, Atlanta. And introduced me to her. I reached out to her, and y'all know me. I sent some 60-minute questions over via email, and she said, "Boy, you need to call me." So she shut it down. So she is, straight up. I had to do, "Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood." I had to sing that to Council Member Rene. But she is first elected in 2014. Re-elected in 2018 and serves as Mayor Pro Tem, a strong champion, which I got to see it firsthand. She took me on a tour of public safety, an advocate for children, young adults. Shout out to her birthplace, Selma, Alabama. Vi, we know about folks from Selma. We got, down in, because we were down in Troy. So she's also a graduate of the Mighty Hornets, the Black and Gold, Alabama State University, and has a political science degree from there. She's got a law degree from the Atlanta Law School. Y'all give it up. And I hope she's here. I see her name. Council Member Rene serves as the second vice president for the NAACP Atlanta Fulton County branch. Y'all give it up. Give it up. Councilwoman Rene, are you in the building yet? Did you make it? I don't know if she made it. Let's see if she got audio. Her audio is not quite connected, but I'll get her in just a minute. But she's going to be on the show in just a minute, and we're going to talk about the great things that she's doing in East Point. But before we get to Councilwoman Rene, before she clicks on, I got to say what's up to my brother from another mother. He is the pride of Mary Persons High School, our country commentator, and he is the guinea pig for the vax. On the show.
Back. He's back.
He is back,
and he's alive.
and we are
hallelujah.
And we are super. No. You know that we are super observant of Vi. Vi, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Doing a whole lot better.
Good.
Almost back to my normal self, I believe.
All right, good. Welcome back. Okay, excellent. And I've got to say what's up to the pride of the MacTown, Miss Poetic Peace, entrepreneur, community activist. She motivates us every week with her poetry. Got to give it up for Y-O is in the building.
What's up, y'all?
Last but not least, and I'm going to go and check on Councilwoman Rene, but last but not least, our digital entertainment guru, the one and the only, Tonya B is in the building.
You forgot resident cook.
That's right. You know what, Tonya B? Let's check this. Before we can't.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen.
What's cooking, Tonya B?
Do your thing, Tonya B.
Okay. Well, I think I sent you all a picture. I did a test run. And what we're having for dinner tonight is penne pasta. And, of course, my three main things I cook in now: garlic, lemon, and butter, with spinach, cilantro, and parsley. And then I seared some scallops and shrimp, and I made this amazing sauce. I must give myself 5 on it for that. Snap, snap, snap. A seafood sauce of, I use some champagne, Prosecco actually. Of course, garlic, lemon, butter, and a little olive oil. And I'm telling you right now, you know how certain pasta dishes are better the day after? Mm-hmm. I can show you an empty container. So,
oh, no.
And it was delicious. So this is a recipe that I found, and of course I put my own little twist on it. Well, I did add some ginger to the mix, and I'm telling you right now, you saw the picture, and I got love from some folks, and I got a little hateration from folks that couldn't get here to have any. But it is what it is. By the time anybody gets to my house for me to cook again, I will have perfected so many recipes because I got nothing but time. So my COVID therapy is cooking.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Good stuff.
So that's what we have.
Good stuff. And you sent us a picture yesterday too, right?
I did. Yes, I did.
Well,
I forgot. I on top is a slight coating of shredded Parmesan and Gruyere cheese. So
okay.
You got it.
Well, good stuff. Tonya B's out. She's gonna turn this into a cooking show one day. One day we just gonna do cooking.
Blame it on Howard. He's the one that asked for the return of what's cooking.
Hey y'all, let's do this because I'm waiting on Councilwoman Rene. I really want to get her in. She's got some great information for us. Let's go ahead and do news real quick with Syracuse Mike, and we'll be right back. How about that?
News team, assemble!
It's time for the Week in News with Syracuse Mike.
Televangelist Dr. Frederick Price died late last week after battling COVID. In addition to his TV ministry, he founded Crenshaw Christian Center, also known as the Faith Dome. Price was 89. Georgia Democrats are blasting a decision to hold a state Senate subcommittee hearing on 4 controversial voting bills early Wednesday morning and without live streaming. Some Democrats say the timing was intentional to fly under the radar. One of those bills would eliminate no-excuse absentee voting. Another will require an ID to apply for an absentee ballot. The Senate's full Ethics Committee is scheduled to meet and could address the no-excuse absentee voting bill. It is available through live streaming. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said on Thursday that all power-generating plants in the state were back online, but as of last night, approximately 300,000 homes remained without energy because of downed lines and other issues after a devastating winter storm and cold snap. Senator Ted Cruz is back in the state after photos went viral, including one showing him departing an airport in Mexico. A trip to Cancun with his daughters didn't set well, with many Texans dealing with the terrible conditions there. The NAACP, along with Mississippi Congressman Benny Thompson and a civil rights law firm, have filed a lawsuit against former President Trump, Rudy Giuliani, and 2 white supremacist groups, citing their role in the January 6th insurrection. It claims they did so in violation of the Ku Klux Klan Act from the 1870s, designed to protect both formerly enslaved African Americans and lawmakers in Congress from white supremacist violence. The move comes following Trump's acquittal in the Senate and after Minority Leader Mitch McConnell appeared to encourage litigation. Georgia Congressman Hank Johnson is signing on as a plaintiff. All power plants in Texas are again functioning, but as of early Friday, over 200,000 homes were still without power, while 13 million people, nearly half of all people in the state, have seen water services disrupted. And then there is the water damage from burst pipes. Ice that downed power lines during the week are causing delays as well. Nearly 24 deaths have been attributed to the cold weather in Texas. Officials say they suspect many more people have died, but their bodies have not yet been discovered. Another video has been released leading to protests. The Orange County Sheriff's Department released a video and audio this week surrounding the fatal shooting of a homeless black man in San Clemente, California by a deputy last year. 42-year-old Kurt Reinhold was shot and killed in September. The video included dash cam footage, cell phone video from a witness, and motel surveillance. The sheriff's department does not have body cameras. Sergeant Dennis Breckner said the deputy saw Reinhold jaywalking and stopped him. There was a struggle, and one deputy is heard saying he's got my gun multiple times. An attorney for Reinhold's family said that the officers created and escalated the confrontation.
Well, y'all, first of all, rest in peace, Fred Price Sr. You know what, Tonya B., you probably know, and I don't want to get into it too deeply. Does anybody really know whatever happened to Fred Price Jr.? I'm curious.
Were allegedly.
Oh, Lord. That's okay. That's okay.
He was, I guess, forced to step down, or I guess, as the Mormons may say, excommunicated from the church. But I understand it was not permanently. Yeah. For some, what shall we say, inappropriate behavior and or inappropriate use of church funds, aka he was messing around and had his hand in the collection plate.
Okay, all right. Good enough. I'm just curious because I'm wondering who's going to take over now that Fred Price has passed. I'm just curious. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time. I just knew you'd know. I just knew you'd know.
And what's interesting is what people don't realize about Fred Price. Before you had all these other preachers out here that are like Creflo Dollar, he was actually the precursor to them because he was one of the first that actually preached this prosperity gospel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he was one of the funniest of all of them. I mean, he used to crack me up. But I'll leave it at that. Rest in peace, Fred Price Sr. Rest in peace. And also, y'all, I want y'all to really be aware, and I'm going to post the link on the podcast page. Georgia trying to sneak these laws in on voting. We really need to be aware of what's going on. We live in Georgia, but I'll be honest with you. I think what's going to happen is a lot of this stuff is going to be a blueprint that'll go across the country if they can sneak it in. So, having meetings without live stream or, it ain't right, and Democrats are already talking about not being involved in a lot of these meetings that should have included their input. So I'm going to post a link on the podcast page from GPB. It really breaks down all the possible changes that could affect us. So you need to know so that if there's something you're missing, you need to you need to try to get up in there. Okay. So we need to help. All right. The other thing, and I'll make sure I post that again. I'll post that. And real quick, Texas is a mess. And shout out to AOC, who raised $2 million. And actually she went in because, Flying Ted went to Cancun. I guess what's he gonna say? Margaritas for everybody? I don't get this dude.
Oh, he didn't.
Well, I do get him. But go ahead.
Let me say this: the receipts have surfaced. It was not just him who threw his kids under the bus, but his wife was, what do you call aiding and abetting? Yeah. Because the receipts have surfaced that she was actually inviting friends and neighbors to accompany them to Cancun. So this wasn't just, my daughters wanted to get away. This was planned. And as much as he dug and threw shade at people that did what he did during other disasters, he did the same thing. He didn't think he would get caught. I just say 5-1 to the person or people who whipped out their camera phones and recorded him sitting in coach, didn't even get the first class upgrade. And, I say karma is a big old B. And United Airlines flew him to Texas and back. And notice the day after he got back, they had that engine failure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
On a flight to people going to Honolulu. So I believe, no tea, no shade. I believe there was some cruddy Teddy Cruz karma up in that situation.
Wow. Well, all I have to say is, when it comes down to this whole situation, and I've been saying this really for the longest when it comes down to, hang on just a minute, y'all. When it comes down to actually, dealing with Ted Cruz, Ted ain't for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Ted ain't never been for y'all.
Nope.
He's not, but the people that keep drinking the same Kool-Aid, they keep electing him, and that crazy governor and that other mentally unstable man told the people stop complaining that is now the former mayor. So
well,
what is going on in Texas, yo?
The whole thing that bothers me is when you've got somebody who's as privileged as a Josh Hawley and a Ted Cruz representing you, it just shows you when they're not there for the people. It was just obvious. So I just hope that people and do you think it'll stick? Do you think people will right with this? They'll see him for who he is, or is the line and is it going to continue? You shaking your head, Vi. What do you think? Come on up.
No,
Even the Whitney Houston held to the no.
So. Most of the people who voted for Ted Cruz, they already knew who Ted Cruz was.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So no.
Well,
not in Texas. Not in Texas anyway. No.
Okay. Not in Texas. Okay. We'll see. Also, we'll talk about this this whole situation with the NAACP, and I just got to do it again. I cannot tell you how proud I am of our representative in Mississippi and our representative in Georgia, Hank Johnson, for really stepping up with the NAACP to push this. And let me tell you what's happening. Not only can it happen the way it's happening with the NAACP, the word is that the template can be used anywhere across the country. So, this similar type of lawsuit can be used at, on a state level. So can you imagine, a national lawsuit as well as individual state lawsuits? So, this thing is, it could really turn out to be a big, which I think it's a big deal anyway, but I think it can actually break out and go into the individual states, which would be interesting to see how that has impact. Hey, what do you think? Y-O, any thoughts? Any thoughts on that? That lawsuit taking Giuliani and Trump to court. Any thoughts?
I'm really discouraged when I think about.
Go ahead.
Am I echoing to you all?
Yeah, you better.
I'm really discouraged when I think about Trump getting off with the impeachment. I'm thinking, hey, they might get away with this. I don't have the faith in the justice system like I should have.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. But I think the more we can go after the money, if we can go after the money, that'll be a big deal. That'll be a big deal. And one thing real quick, and then we'll go to break. This San Clemente shooting is disturbing. This guy, Mr. Reinhardt, was shot for jaywalking. And I know it happened sometime last year, but they're finally releasing, I guess they finally released the body cam. No, they didn't have body cam footage. They released, I guess, the audio. And I, as you know, a lot of these municipalities have video at the crosswalks. And the police didn't have to go after him. He was jaywalking. Can you imagine going after somebody with a gun for jaywalking? San Clemente is 83% white, 0.78, not even 1% black. And so just amazing to me. Amazing.
Well, if that happened in New York, imagine how much lower the population would be in a lot of cities. Because I'm not going to lie, I have done the deed. And I know you can get a ticket for it, but that is to me like the apex of excessive.
Yeah, going after somebody with a gun for jaywalking is nuts. It's just crazy. So, we'll see how that goes. The family is definitely going after, the city and the police. And, they need to do something really with this qualified immunity law, which lets a lot of these police off the hook because the bar is so high. Where they have to prove, whether or not they violated laws. I just hope that qualified immunity can be dropped across the country, and that's the only way we can really make these guys responsible for their murders. Is what's happening, just murders. Okay, hey, let's take a break. We're gonna go to break real quick, and we'll come back. And we're going to try to connect with Councilwoman Rene, and then we're going to do Tonya B's tea, and we'll be right back right after this. Here we go.
If you have been financially affected by the COVID pandemic, then this message is for you. Are you among the many folks who have lost their jobs, or if you've been furloughed, or working from home at a reduced pay? If you have credit card debt and cannot make your monthly payments, we at Debt Fix Pros can help. Call us to see how we can reduce your interest rates and lower your monthly payments. If you are struggling with credit card debt, we can help. Call 800-591-5517. That's 800-591-5517.
Here we
Now
go.
then, children, it's time for tea.
It's tea time, y'all. Sipping the tea with Tonya B.
Tonya B, what you got? What you got?
Okay, the first thing I want to say is we're talking about the NAACP. And so in some situations, people think they've been quiet, but, sometimes you have to do a lot of things quietly behind the scenes. And it really made me think about my first encounter with the NAACP was back in Boston when I was a little goober. And my dad was, of course, on radio. And one of the first things I remember was actually going to a remote at the Boston NAACP headquarters on Massachusetts Avenue. And that stuck with me, and it's been a long time. So that was my first encounter with the NAACP, and I never forgot that.
Good stuff.
Okay, now let's get to some more stuff. We'll start with our celebrity prayer list, of course, in case you haven't heard. Rapper Jeezy is mourning the loss of his mother. I can't imagine how difficult it is to, bury a loved one in the midst of a pandemic, but
Wow.
he had to do that.
Wow.
And also Prince Marky D, who's a member of the legendary hip-hop group The Fat Boys, a.k.a. the Disco 3. He passed away one day before his 53rd birthday of heart failure. And while the Fat Boys had disbanded, and then Human Beatbox Buffy also passed away, Prince Marky D really had a career a lot of people don't know about. He was on a highly rated radio DJ down in Miami on two of the top radio stations.
Yep.
Did a lot of production. If it weren't for Prince Marky D, we may have never had Real Love by Mary J. Blige. He did the production on the 411 album. He produced for people like Drake, Mariah Carey, Jennifer Lopez, Destiny's Child. And he also, the song by Brownstone, If You Love Me, Say It. Anybody?
You know me.
Okay,
I'm just nodding my head.
I saw no movement. I'm like, okay, come on, DJ Tommy B.
I am nodding my head. I know about it. I mean,
okay. Well, Prince Marky D produced the
Y-O too.
Brownstone's If You Love Me. So he did a lot of work behind the scenes. More recently, he hooked up with his childhood friend LL Cool J. Don't forget RockHallOfFame.com. Vote for LL. Who actually had hired him, and Prince Marky D had a radio show on LL Cool J's Rock the Bells channel on Sirius XM. So he never stopped working.
Wow,
that's good. Right, didn't know that.
And heart disease is a silent killer, so don't discount it. Again, as you say, we're praying for everybody in Texas. If you're familiar with Basketball Wives reality star Tammy Roman, she actually has a home in Texas, which she's lost, and she was upset about that because she couldn't get back home. Again, AOC now, what she's raised is somewhere in between $3 and $4 million, and she's actually in Texas, in Houston, helping the people. And it just, it's like, okay, you got ass Ted Cruz, but you got people like AOC who come from New York, where they have their own issues right now.
It's from New York.
Come and help. And also, of course, rapper Bun B has stepped up, Trey the Truth and Mr. Rogers, to help people, as well as Beyonce and Adidas. She's looking out for her hometown of Houston, Texas, and they've been inundated with so many requests for, the instant minimum $1,000 to help people. That they had to, kind of shut that down. But, people say what you want about her. When disaster strikes, she's there to support her hometown.
Yep, absolutely.
And the NBA, Hartman, he was helping out the city of Houston.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to go to a lot of things that are happening on film and TV. And it makes sense because artists can't tour. They've got a lot of idle time, and they're trying to find ways to engage people, keep their fans engaged. So I say get out your pen and try to rock with me and keep up with this. Alicia Keys is part of YouTube's Black Voices. This is supposed to be a platform where, the artists are supposed to bare their soul. And this project is actually produced by Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. So there's YouTube Black Voices. If you're wondering why you have not seen Donald Glover or Atlanta on FX, I know there's COVID issues, but he's actually been busy moving. Where is he moving? I'm glad you asked. He's actually moving over to Amazon Prime. They're giving him his own channel that he can put as much of his own content as he wants over there. And my thought is when he leaves FX, he's probably going to move Atlanta over to Amazon Prime.
So do you think he's stalling to try to get the show moved over to FX out of his contract?
He has to fulfill his commitment to FX. But I think, in time, that's where it's going to end up. I think he's got maybe like 1 or 2 years left with FX. March 1st, don't forget the Notorious B.I.G. documentary on Netflix produced by Miss Wallace and Puffy. March 27th, Tina Turner, the Queen of Rock and Roll documentary, HBO Max. April 14th, Jamie Foxx returns to Netflix with his show Dad Stop Embarrassing Me. And it's interesting that his living color castmate, David Alan Grier, plays his dad.
What?
Yeah, I read about that. I'm excited to see that.
Yep, me too.
I'm excited for the next two things. I'm excited. Oh, also over at Showtime, this young man, Jermaine Fowler, who plays Eddie Murphy's son in Coming to America 2, March 5th. Mm-hmm. He signed on as a writer in this Untitled comedy. Doesn't have a debut set, but I think it's going to be interesting because it's actually set back in 1997, and the synopsis is that you have a gang of a group of like teen social misfits who live in the South Central LA area, and they set out to solve the murder of their hero Biggie Smalls. So that should be interesting. So
good stuff.
We've got Questlove of The Roots is teaming up with Common to produce a documentary on Sly Stone. That is going to be so dope. Oh, Jesus.
Hey, let me. Are they going to let him? Are they going to let him use the music? Because
exactly. You can't. Yeah, that's like Genius Aretha. How are you going to have an Aretha Franklin documentary and you don't have permission to use it? Yeah, and Sly's still alive. He's got some issues, but I think it's going to be very interesting. I hope that they talk about the '60s and Black Power, and how Sly was in the Bay Area with the multiracial band and just his creativity as well as his demons. So I'm looking forward to that. And
big time.
Regina King is going to produce and star in a biopic about Shirley Chisholm. Who was she? I'm glad you asked. She was the first Black female senator from Brooklyn, New York, and the first Black female to run for president back in 1972. This biopic is endorsed by her estate. So if you don't know who Shirley Chisholm is, just Google her and help yourself.
Absolutely. That's going to be. Thank God for Google.
I'm telling you. And then also don't forget, we have Bishop T.D. Jakes also like many people, has a deal with Lifetime. He's got 2 movies coming up. They're focused on the 7 deadly sins. The first one on April 17th focuses on lust, and it stars Tank, Kerry Hilson, and LaToya Luckett. April 24th, the focus is Envy, and that should be interesting because it stars Da Brat and Candy Burris.
Oh, wow. He's doing his own 7. He's doing it.
Oh, that's 2 of the 7. Okay, one baby steps. But what's interesting is that Sean Robinson, who many people know from being on Access Hollywood, she's actually going to be the producer of these movies.
Good
so
stuff.
That should be interesting. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
What else you got? You got something on Nick Cannon?
Okay, I got one more thing I got to say. Eve, she left the talk. Eve left the talk and she's going back to TV. She's going to be on ABC show, and I think that I'll tell you about that later. Okay, let's talk about. Am I getting feedback?
Yeah, somebody got some echo. Maybe Councilwoman, turn it down a little bit. I think she'll be okay. There you go. Take us off your speaker, Councilwoman. She's there. She's going to be up in just a minute. This is fun.
Okay, well, let me just give you this. Nick Cannon, okay?
Okay.
Many things, including he is a baby-making machine. Now, just try to keep up with me.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have his own basketball team, or at least a starting lineup. He's
a
got
football team. Okay, go ahead.
He's got the 2 Oops babies with Brittany Bell, the beauty queen, and now another set of twins on the way, allegedly, by a woman named Abby De La Rosa. Now, she's allegedly 5 months pregnant. Nick Cannon's last baby was born 2 months ago, do the math. And so that he doesn't mess up the thing, Nick Cannon said, all the ladies in his, I don't want to say harem, the same Valentine's Day gift. And it was interesting to see them online, on social media, thinking they're the only one. And like I said, he's got, Mariah, they're divorced. He's got the Oops Babies with, what's her name? Brittany. Mm-hmm. But then there's this woman named Lakeisha Cole, and she thinks she's his girlfriend, and she was on social media.
Wow.
So Nick is really he's wilding out for real. He's back on the radio. He's back on Wilding Out. His talk show is rescheduled for fall of this year, and it's like he needs all 15 jobs to pay child support for 6 kids, and he did all of that while he had COVID.
Nick got to work.
He got to work.
He got the third. Hey, he got the third leg, not Trey Songz. Okay,
he got to work.
All right, Tonya B. Hey, thank you so much. Hey, you know what? We'll come back to your stuff. We got a little bit of time after the show. What we didn't get to, we'll get to. Okay, and I think she's here. Let me try. Councilwoman Rene, are you in the building? Are you here?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Let me give it up for you. And you even for coming on the show, you get the air horn too. So, but we greatly appreciate you taking the time. And I want to also personally thank you for the tour, because I told Councilwoman Rene I left East Point, and not I got yanked out for got transferred, and so I had a house there until like '94, and there are a lot of areas that I had not seen. And when I spoke with her, she said, "Hey, come on over, I'll give you a tour, show you my district." And it was really eye-opening. And what I have to say, when we have these stories about the likes of like Ted Cruz and a lot of these, and I don't want to just, I never throw a blanket on politicians, but I got to give it to her because she is just in her community really putting in the work. You feed people like twice a week. Tell us about, you and the NAACP. When I went to see you, you had like some canned corn stacked to the ceiling.
Yeah.
Canned food. Tell us about the mission, the thing that you do with the NAACP. You do that twice a week. You still doing that? And she's doing this, y'all, through COVID, where she's feeding, passing out food. So tell us about that first. And then we'll get into the other stuff.
Okay, so I'm second vice president here at the Atlanta NAACP, and I'm also the city council. Since March, since COVID had come around and everything, and a lot of people started losing their jobs. The city council members, we got together, and the mayor of East Point, and we started partnering out. And of course, the NAACP. We're one of the first people on board. And so we have 5 food distribution sites in the city of East Point per week.
Wow.
And we go out every week and provide food for our district. On Wednesday, you actually have council members out every Wednesday at the Jefferson Park Recreation Center over in East Point. Mm-hmm. And we feed about 300 people for that one site. And we've partnered with Atlanta Food Bank and also Fountain of Hope Food Bank, and where the Atlanta NAACP help provide the food and the volunteers to go out every week to help with these sites. And when we try to put volunteers at every site in the city, and we don't just feed East Point people, we feed people, they come from as far as Alpharetta, to come out to some of these sites, because all of our people are in need. And we try, and the NAACP in the city of East Point, even though we're small, we still try our best to make it happen in our communities. And thank you for that great introduction as well.
Well, you know what? Thank you. And I meant that because, there's so many, and Y-O, we were talking about, the fact that politicians need to be locally connected with their people. And when you took me on that tour, she was like, pointing out, well, this over here happened. And I'm like, listen, and I'm like, what? We were talking, you remember we were talking about and we don't have to go into the specifics of it, but we were talking about the shooting that occurred. And you were pointing out.
Is that you sent a couple of calls. You sent a lot of questions over, and I was like, who is this guy? Right? and I'm real passionate about my district.
Yeah,
and let me tell you, when I ran, it was, we had come through one of the worst recessions, and a lot of our communities were blighted, especially in my district. Yeah. They were poor Black and brown people. and I represent a large group. I'm at large. So I represent a white district, and I also represent one of the poorest Black districts as well. And the needs are different in each community. And what is really unique about it is just across the street is a white district. And then what happens is when I came on board, I made a vow to God to say, if you would help me just clean this up. And what we did was the city council, we went to work. We listed all of our blighted properties. And then what we realized is that a lot of people who own these properties don't live in the city. What they were doing is they buy the property and then they'll hold it. If they don't rent it out, they'll hold it and it becomes dilapidated and eyesore. The community, grass high, trees fell on top of them, and we were trying to track them down. And so the city was giving us we can't find them, and we were like, well, we're gonna find them. We're gonna put a team together. We're gonna find these people. They're not gonna hold our communities hostage because our people deserve it. Deserve better. We got schools in this district, and our kids should not be walking to school in blighted properties and trash on the ground. And so we're trying to, and we've turned things around. Is there more work to do? God knows there's a lot more work to do. But we're excited about some of the changes that we're seeing here in East Point. And we're all of a sudden, we've become very famous for the Wednesday wind down in the summer. And so we're really excited about that. We have a large crowd that come in. We just gave a member of Goody Mob the key to the city in Black History Month. And so we are excited about a lot of great things that are going on around us. And we do have a great team of city council members and the mayor that truly care about the residents here. And I think that's that makes a difference.
And thank you for hooking up Big Boy. Gave him, that's right. From Outcast, Tri-Cities grad. That was, congrats. Kudos to Mayor Holliday, City Council, you guys are really, rewarding all the talent that came out of East Point to show, East Point deserves that kind of love. And also congratulations on the Microsoft announcement. I don't know if y'all know, but Microsoft is going to be establishing that data center over, in your county in East Point. So
and that's in my district too. I'm so excited about the oncoming of Microsoft, and the job that they will create in this community will be absolutely awesome.
Yeah. How did that happen? How did that come about?
Yeah. Let me. Can I say this before you say it, Y-O? You need to come to where East Point is in the city, and you'll clearly understand. And am I right by saying that, Councilwoman? Because
you are.
It is central. It's like you got the airport, you got the train. It's a heartbeat from downtown. It's like, why not? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right. And a lot of people don't realize this. We're actually 6 minutes from the heart of downtown.
Yes.
And I've been telling all of our people to buy in East Point. And the property, the value is great, especially what you get from your money, and the city is safe. And in the stores, you have Camp Creek Marketplace right over there, which is probably the number one. We call it the TAD district in the state of Georgia. So, and we come with a city with some problems, but however, our communities are great. The neighbors. When I moved here to East Point, actually, I bought a house. I walked around the backyard and I saw the land and the space there, and I bought it without even going inside the house. And so, and the guy I bought from had a tenant in it. And so the tenant moved down in the middle of the night, and then I went over and introduced all myself to my neighbors, and they became my friends. And I'm going to tell you this, that's pretty much the story that you're going to have across the city of East Point. People know their neighbors.
Yeah.
And it
takes
really
a village.
Yep.
It does.
And when you mentioned the TAD factor, that plays a huge role as well. So I can totally understand with the combination of the other, the location and airport and
convenience.
Oh, there's so much. There's so much. But let me ask you, Councilwoman Rene, this whole Republican push to, for voter suppression again. What are your thoughts? I mean, I know, you're not in the Gold Dome every day, but what are you hearing about this whole situation and these restrictions that are being placed?
Now, this is really, and I'm glad you brought that up because, working in the NAACP, we're planning a press conference, and we're organizing with a lot of other organizations, civil rights organizations, to get this thing out to the public, to let people know. And what it is that the absentee ballot, 1.4 million people voted in the general election by absentee ballot. 1.1 million of those people were Black people.
Yeah.
And so because there was a great turnout in 2005, the absentee ballot was, there was no excuse, no restrictions on it. If you wanted to apply for an absentee ballot, anybody could probably get one who was registered to vote and do a vote by absentee ballot. Now they want to come in and add all of these restrictions on it. One of the restrictions is that you got to be 75 years or older. The other restriction is that you need a copy of your driver's license or your Georgia ID to apply for the application. And you need an ID, a Georgia ID or driver's license to send your absentee ballot in along with it. Well, you know what that does to poor people. How many of you guys know of anybody? How many people have a copy machine in their home?
Yeah.
And we are still in the midst of COVID, and we know that COVID will still be around for a little while longer. And Dr. Fauci is saying that we'll probably end up wearing our masks for another 2 to 3 years. So that means that a lot of us are still at risk. So the absentee boxes, the mail-in boxes for absentee ballot, they want to eliminate those altogether.
Wow.
And you understand what the post office looks like. And then we have a lot of challenges, and we're pissed off about it. I think this is really, you're talking about stealing the vote. This is truly a Jim Crow rules, Jim Crow laws that they're trying to pass. And it's not called for. It's like it should be a fair democracy for all of us. And when everybody has an opportunity to vote and express their right in voting, it is fair across the board. But of course, the Republicans are really pushing it. And I know we're nonpartisan as well, but we have to call it out when we see it.
Yeah.
This is just really back in the day. We're almost feeling like we're back in the 1960s again, fighting for the right to vote. So those are some of the challenges that we're having, and it's really alarming to us that they will go this far just to restrict the absentee ballot.
Well, how can we? We can't necessarily vote because these laws are really going to have to be fought between the NAACP, civil rights organizations, voting right organizations, attorneys. And our folks under the Gold Dome, almost nationally, because I see this spreading to a lot of the Republican states. How can we help? How can we, how can an average citizen, because you wear two hats. You wear, your hat as, East Point City Council, but you're also, connected to the NAACP as second VP. So how can we help you? How can we help you with what you're doing?
One of the ways you could do it is because we are suing. We need donations. Donate to the Atlanta NAACP. It'll come directly to the Atlanta NAACP, and you can put on your check or your funding that you send in. You could say, I want this to go to help fight voter suppression. Those kind of things. We need funding because we don't receive federal funding or state funding or government funding at all. We're basically a membership organization, and that's how we push out all of our initiatives through grassroots efforts. So the funding will be very good for us to help us push those initiatives and get those things out. But I also want to say this: since the January the 5th election, 28 states have come up with some voter suppression forms. And so under the state legislative law. So it is not just happening here in Georgia. It is happening all across the United States. So 28 states have come up with some voter suppression forms that they're trying to push through, and they're trying to restrict it. But one of the key things that we also need to do is call our local legislators. Let them know that you are aware of this and you want no restrictions on the absentee ballot, and you need ballot boxes, placed everywhere in all communities. And we need those factors. And then also another restriction that they want to do in the state of Georgia, when you renew your license or you apply for Georgia's driver's license, you automatically are registered to vote. That's another restriction that they want to remove from that. And I think that the last thing that they want to do is once the general election is over, the runoffs are up. Well, doing that, you have, I think, about 60 to 90 days before the next election comes up. What happens is in that between time, we register more people, because you can register people up until 30 days prior to the election.
Yeah.
And so it also, the way the law reads right now is that we could register people. And we register a lot of folks. Yeah. John Ossoff and Warnock vote for the runoff. And if you moved here before time, or if you moved here, you could still register to vote. Mm-hmm. And so they're trying to restrict that as well. They're saying that if you moved here from Georgia and you did not vote in the primaries or the regular election, you cannot vote in the runoff. So
Amazing.
There's a lot of restrictions that they're trying to impose upon us, and we really need to stay vigilant and make sure that we have a voice. Now that we do have the numbers, we can make a difference.
Good stuff. Well, first and foremost, make sure, send me the link. Make sure you have the link. I'm going to make sure I put that link on our podcast page so that, we can make that available to our podcast audience. And definitely we want to, do everything to help. But can membership also help you? Just, becoming member?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And the membership helps a lot, too. Go to NAACPAtlanta.org, and you can join, and you can also donate as well.
So that's
NAACPAtlanta.org.
NAACPAtlanta.org. And I'll make sure we have that on our podcast and the podcast notes for this episode, and we'll put a link in our social media as well. Yeah. Councilwoman Rene, I really appreciate you, getting on today. And I got to give it up for you one more time.
Thank you, guys. I truly appreciate it. And I'm humble. I'm sorry about the audio thing.
Oh, no.
This is an awesome show, and I've already joined. So I've listened to some of the other podcasts that you had on earlier, and I just want to say I'm just very proud of the work that you guys are doing, and I am a fan.
Well, thank you. Hey, we appreciate that, and you know what? Thank you. Y'all gave Big Boy Key to the City. I just want to say thank you for my T-shirt. Thank you for my. She hooked me up with two T-shirts.
See, I can drive to East Point and take the councilwoman some of the food from my kitchen.
There you go. Feed the people.
I love that. I heard it. Yeah, thank you, because I do eat.
There you go. But keep doing the great work. Say hello to your fellow city council people. Shout out to Mayor Holliday for doing it big and doing it the right way. And take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend, Councilwoman Rene, because I know you work so hard during the week. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Take care.
It's good to see a female in a position like hers that is speaking and spreading the information. And so
hey, what's that?
I wanted to her again.
Is that her or you?
That was good stuff. Definitely good stuff.
It was. I'm not messing with you, Tommy B. You better.
I'm not doing that.
I have my camera on today.
Wait a minute. She put us on hold.
Oh my goodness! I thought Tommy B was playing that.
No, I'm not doing that. She left. But...
Oh, I thought it was Tommy B too.
If it wasn't for the city of East Point, I would not be able to live where I live right now. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
I spend a lot of Sundays in East Point, and that was one place I was thinking about residing because it is convenient. It's out of the city. You still have a sense of community there. I noticed that.
But you know what? Let me say this, y'all, and I know a lot of you folks, our audience isn't all in Atlanta, but East Point represents a city, and many cities like across the country where white flight kind of left a lot of these cities to die, and it's good to see a city because now of course it's a majority Black city that's flourishing. I mean it's really surviving and vibing and creating a culture. And while when you come up, you really have to check it out because of the location. That's one of the things I loved about living there was, you got access to the train. You could take the train.
I know East Point well.
Yeah, it's, kudos to her. And I just want to thank Councilwoman Rene one more time. I'm going to give it up for her because.
Yeah, I'm from East Point. Got lost in East Point.
Oh, dude, you used to hang out with me at East Point. Come on. I used to stay, stay at my house.
When they were trying to get me to do the bus thing and I got lost on it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot how many hours I got lost on the bus. But come on, dude. Come on. Ain't but 1-2 buses. Come on.
Hey, dude. I'm
down there by Union City.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a country boy from Forest.
There you go.
Got lost.
There you go.
You know where to get off. Next thing I know, the guy say, hey, man, you got to get off. I'm going, huh?
It's midnight. Hey, y'all.
We didn't have cell phones back then.
No, we didn't. So you had to get off and call. Hey, y'all, let's do this. Let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and do what we always do. Here we go.
Jay, you got to be down. What you ain't down?
Yeah, Brooke, now I'm down. But I'm down for something positive in the community. Are you down for that?
It's the Stay Woke Report with Y-O.
It's only fitting that we go to the Stay Woke Report now with Y-O. Y-O, what you got this week? Go.
Okay, housing segregation and redlining in America. Like you were just talking about white flight from East Point, and this has happened in a lot of places. Once you know the history of housing segregation and redlining in the United States, it's easy to realize the extremity of racism in our country and how it's been programmed. The National Housing Act of 1934 was the result of the Homeowners Loan Corporation, which is known as HOLC. That created residential security maps, which in turn, redlining was birthed from these policies. For the Homeowners Loan Corporation, HOLC, green meant great people, such as businessmen. Blue meant good people, like blue-collar workers.
Yep.
Yellow meant declining areas with the plain working class. And red meant detrimental and hazardous areas with poor whites, foreigners, and Negroes. So there was no refinancing or purchasing of properties in these red line areas at all. And in America the Great, the housing discrimination trickles down to present time difficulties we have with our education, health, economy, and law enforcement.
Yep.
Although the Fair Housing Act of 1968 was passed, we just don't see, it doesn't erase what's happened and what still is shown with, the areas we live in and what's done there. So I just had to go on and do that one first.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to make sure there's a link for a YouTube video on that. I'm going to make sure I put that on the podcast page for you, too, because that's definitely something we have to remind people of. Definitely, without a doubt. What you got next?
Stay woke. We got to stay woke. Okay, now this is huge. And we gotta talk about this vaccine thing. Tuskegee to COVID, a Black doctor on medical racism and overcoming the vaccine skepticism. Many Black people are skeptical of the COVID-19 vaccines because of experiments like the Tuskegee experiment, which was a study of Black men with syphilis who cooperated with the U.S. government experiment in hopes that they would be treated for the disease at no cost. A lot of Black men died, and most of all, none of them were treated for syphilis.
Yeah.
Some of their children and wives suffered because of the lack of the treatment promised from the federal government. This is one of the main reasons the polls are reporting only half of Black Americans have vowed not to receive the vaccine. Currently, doctors are aiming to convince their Black patients by taking the vaccine themselves and encouraging celebrities to do the same on public platforms. So, many of us have trust issues and we're skeptical of these medical institutions and what they're doing to us, just from past.
And you know what, Y-O, the interesting thing is the city of Tuskegee is having a problem getting the city, like Tuskegee, Alabama. I was reading a story that they're having a problem getting their I think 8,500 residents to get vaccinated because of that, because exactly what you mentioned.
Because it's their grandmothers and grandfathers and aunties,
a lot of the people they knew. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that went through that. So, I'm watching Vi closely.
I told you, Vi. I told you.
Nah, I'm going to get the vaccine, y'all. Yeah. But, I do have some doubts in the back of my mind.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm paying attention closely. Go ahead, Vi. What were you saying?
I was skeptical also because they asked me to take a couple of times. I told them I wasn't ready. I had to think about it some more. And I got a fraternity brother who worked with CDC, and I called him, asked him for his opinion. Mm-hmm. He recommended I take it.
Yeah.
He said, I recommend you take it. So I said, okay.
Yeah.
And that would make me to listen to him because I had symptoms. And I tell you, the first shot didn't really do anything. The second shot to get most of us.
Yeah. That's what I heard.
Say if you don't get sick, if you get sick, that means it's working.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I heard.
Are you serious? So just quickly, like, what were some of your sicknesses? Like, what did you feel?
I really didn't get sick. I was just tired. I couldn't do anything. I mean, whatever I did, tired. Like if I left my house and just walked to my car, a 5-minute walk made me feel like after just doing a 5-minute walk, I felt like I had ran for 3 miles and I was breathing hard.
Wow. It's almost like flu-like symptoms, man. Almost, yeah.
Yeah, flu-like symptoms. And I know one friend of mine, she had it, she said she couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. Matter of fact, I'm the only one that came to work Monday who took the shot Friday.
Wow.
So everybody's different, right?
Everybody said they had to run. They had, you get flu-like. Some people get the run. Some people get the temperature. I was a little stuffy. But my main thing, I was just tired, man. Whatever I did, it just drained me. Whatever I did just drained me.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, and I know this never happened in Tuskegee, but do you have to keep, I guess, a diary, if you will, or just some type of log of any side effects that you feel things like that?
That is up to you. Because when you take the shot, they give you this site that you can go to and register, and you can take notes down and call them and let you know. But that's up to you. I chose not to do it. I chose not to do any of that. But you do have that choice. But you do have the choice to do that.
I have a neighbor that is older than all of us, but still he got his first vaccine. And just in speaking with him last night, that's one thing he mentioned. He said, "I can't believe I'm so tired. I don't want to do anything."
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Hey, while for the sake of time, the BODYCAM video story, send that to me and I'll post that on the podcast page. That's the one about the police brutality because the police beat the black man because he looked shocked.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's worse than jaywalking.
Yeah, send me that link. And, for those who definitely, we should be interested in what's going on with that, send me that link and I'll put it on the podcast page, okay? But
definitely. One
other thing I want to mention, you remember we were talking about the young lady in Ohio left her children in the room. Yeah. She started the GoFundMe.
She done racked up.
Yeah, well, according to NBC News, she's got $150,000 or close to it now. Give it up.
Her mom set up that GoFund account for her.
I just hope she doesn't give any of that money to her. Forgive me, Lord. I'm just gonna say it, her bum ass baby daddy, but
not with the mug shot. I don't think he go get it, but I think
probably all his child support.
Love is blind, baby. Love is blind. But I really hope she can get some just stability for herself and her children.
Well, Shayna Bell, Liberty Township, Ohio, according to NBC, they said the money came from a lot of folks in the music industry heard about it.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm not sure how to say his name, Javal McGee. He gave money and it's interesting because, she said one of the reasons why she didn't, I guess, quote unquote, see anything wrong with it was because her mom did the same thing with her and her siblings. She said her mom would have to work and they would leave the kids together in a group unsupervised because that's the only way that she could make it. I mean, she didn't have enough money for childcare. And you can imagine how many young women who, are single moms have to do that to where, that it's especially with COVID now. So I really hope that the $150,000, I'm confident based on what the GoFundMe said, that they're focused on getting the money to the children or at least for child care.
She was trying to do the right thing. She was trying to take care of her family the best way that she knew how. And like you said, there was a time when, that's, I guess, the term latchkey kids, when people were able to do that.
Correct.
And maybe you had neighbors to look in on you, but that, for many people, that may well be their normal. And that's why she saw nothing wrong with it. Now, it wasn't like she was out there like in the street slinging or doing anything illegal.
Yeah,
so I say I give her 5 on it for trying. I give her more 5 on it than Gorilla Glue Girl, whose account has been frozen for suspected fraud. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh no!
I think if that person was so concerned, why didn't they go check on this stuff? Just call the cops.
Yeah, but people
that concerned.
People, you know how it is, Vi. I mean, you look at the whole Karen culture. People just want to call the police, quote unquote, by being, attempting to be quote unquote good citizens. So, that whole culture, man. And, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I'm just happy. I hope this turns out to be a happy ending for her and her kids. So, kudos to those who gave and happy ending. Let's move forward. Yeah. Hey, a couple of things I didn't get a chance to mention in your tea, Tonya B, and I hope y'all have had a chance or check it out. Amend on Netflix with Will Smith talks about the 14th Amendment. I'm watching that. And if you haven't had a chance to put that on your watch list, Amend. Talks about the 14th Amendment. It's a product of Will Smith, Kenny Leon. Kenny Leon's from the ATL, Clark AU grad, Alliance Theater, True Colors Theater, Emmy Award. I don't think he's won an Oscar, but without a doubt, it is so far for me so good. I'm into my second part of, I think it's a 6-part limited episode series on Netflix, but it's called Amend, and it focuses on the importance of citizenship in the 14th Amendment. I recommend you guys check that out. And Tonya B, you and I were talking about Soul on Amazon Prime. And I know you're big into the actual, the Haysworth, what's his name? Hayslip documentary, Ellis Hayslip documentary. But season 1, I don't know how many episodes this thing is, but it ran from 1968 to 73. And they've got on Amazon, which I applaud Amazon, the whole first series, first season. And man,
they did it before the whole black thing became the cool thing to do.
Absolutely. And it is just, it's mind blowing because one of the things I loved, and you'll like this, Y-O, Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, 2-part, 1 hour each conversation where they're really digging into the culture and digging into, relations between black women and black men back then. It is just a great conversation. You got Patti LaBelle and LaBelle, Bill Withers, Mandrill. Culture. It is just, and this was when they had the thing called the Black Arts Movement, which really Ellis Hayslip and had a lot to do with. Leroy Jones, who became Amar Bakari. I'm screwing up names. I'm all
Baraka.
Yeah, Baraka. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
This was, I can't say enough about it. And some of it, y'all, it's the 70s and it's PBS. So put up with the technical stuff.
But let's applaud New York Public Television.
Yes.
Having this vision to air their program because it didn't, it never went national. It was never syndicated.
No.
I feel like I'm one of the fortunate ones because I lived in that area where I was able to watch it. And, at that time, it was a combination of like your Soul Train, your church service, and what would later be the Arsenio Hall show all balled up into one. So he really was the precursor to a lot of, I say, black talk because it was a visual medium.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. It's amazing. The Nikki Giovanni, James Baldwin conversation alone is just, for me, I was blown away by it. So it's on Amazon Prime. If you have it, it's free. Season 1. And I know, is the documentary actually on right now? Is it?
And not yet, but that's something I would actually pay for because I'm so excited about it. And again, I guess if you were part of that era and you actually got to experience soul, not that being there doesn't diminish anything, but it's almost like going to church and watching church on TV. There's a little some different things about it. But I just say it's one of those situations where if you just want to be more aware of culture, rather the things you heard about, you get to actually see them because you didn't see James Baldwin did do some talk shows, but like Nikki Giovanni.
Yeah. It's amazing.
You never really saw her on national TV. So I would just say help yourself and learn your history by watching it.
And I met her later in life, when she's an older woman because she was teaching at University of Virginia. And she came to the Atlanta area. And, she's older now, so, but to see her when she was in her 20s and to hear her speak and talk about the culture then, it's, the crazy thing about this, y'all, is that it's all so relevant today. And that's
even now,
that's kind of sad that the stuff they were talking about going through in the 60s is relevant to us today. I mean, with the, give or take a few things, but it is, it's worthwhile. Soul, Season 1's on Amazon.
Yeah, I've met her a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. Didn't you meet her?
A couple of times, and definitely a privilege. A couple of signed books.
Mm-hmm.
I think Race Matters. Oh, no, that was Cornell West. Race Matters, I believe, was one of the title of her books. But yeah, she's really down to earth.
Yeah, she is. Very. And she's straight up, boy. I bought her in during the Bush administration. Damn. She went off on the chat. She went off. White people were getting up, walking out.
Did mother go in or did mother go in?
Ooh, man.
I bet you she went all the way in.
She went off. She was dropping the MF bomb. It was hilarious. You know, she's I love Nikki Giovanni. I love Nikki. Hey, y'all, one more thing, and this is kind of the guilty pleasure. I just want to ask y'all, on Netflix, there's a new series. It's called Behind Her Eyes. And
so that's a series.
Yeah, it's a limited series. It's only 6 episodes. But I'm going to recommend it to y'all, but it's crazy. I'm going to say that up front. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's TVMA. But I will tell you, I can't say much about it because the ending, if I tell you anything about it, it's a spoiler. But I checked it out and it blew me away. And you know, some people got pissed off and said, I'll never watch this thing again. Some people were, you know, I like the twist. So it was cool for me. I ain't have anything. I ain't had any problems with it. No issue.
Okay. When you said crazy, was there anything like that last movie I saw?
Which one?
But Denzel Washington in one of them black and white.
Tenet?
Tenet? Oh, I hadn't seen Tenet yet. I hadn't watched Tenet, but I'm sure it's probably. Huh? What's that?
I love about them arguing the whole day.
Oh no. You mean Malcolm and Maria? No.
Yeah, Malcolm and Maria. It ain't anything like that, is it?
No. It's
that's all I need to know because I can't do that again.
You can't do the Malcolm and Maria again.
I can't do this right now.
I can't do that again.
Damn. All right, y'all, don't forget, y'all, you can feed us back. Always, you can call us 413-556-9546 with your feedback. Y'all got any last minute? I'll throw it to you first, Vi. You got any last minute comments before we do the benediction and get up out of here? What you got?
Well, I would say pay attention to what the Republicans are doing, but they are really scared right now.
Yeah,
they don't want to vote. They don't want you to vote right now because they're really scared.
So true.
I think they're in trouble because they fighting among each other, and they fighting among each other, and they don't want us to vote.
Yeah.
So they're scared. We need to keep putting the pressure on.
Yeah.
Keep putting the pressure on.
I agree. Tonya B, you got anything that we missed from your tea?
Oh, there's nothing that can't wait. But one thing I do want to recommend to people is Dr. Henry Louis Gates did. I've watched 4 parts of it. I think there are 2 more on PBS about the Black church. All I can say is help yourself. You know, it takes you back to when, you know, the history of the Black church that started over in Africa. Churches weren't called churches. They were called praise houses. And even then how, you know, there was a widespread effort to, I guess, just suppress, you know, their ability to worship, which was all they had.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, I say help yourself and watch. And some people that you wouldn't even believe were involved in the church are there. And they also touch on, and this is like the taboo thing, especially in Atlanta, and just the Black church period. I'll say this, it's just the whole LGBTQ plus, you know, suppression of people in the church. That's touched upon as well.
Good stuff. And what is that on PBS? By the way?
PBS, yes. It's called The Black Church.
Is it on demand? Because I saw a couple of promos for it. It's on demand.
Oh, it is, yes. Yes, it is. And I believe they're also carrying it on, it's either Prime or Netflix. One of those 2 services is carrying it as well. So just help yourself.
Good
and
stuff.
The music was good too.
I got to check it out. Y-O, I know you got any last minute comment that we didn't get to?
No.
Good stuff. I was like, you okay, Y-O? You ain't over there balled up in a corner, are you?
No.
Good stuff, y'all. All right, y'all know what time it is. We got to get to it. Here we go.
Let me get my fan. Hallelujah.
Here's your inspirational moment with Vi.
The problems we face may seem like they are too much or there is no way you can get through whatever is happening at the moment. God promised that nothing would defeat us completely. He will help us through the most agonizing problems. Face each day with the assurance that God will be with you and see you through. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 19. They will fight you, but they will fail. For I am with you and I will take care of you. I, the Lord, has spoken. In other words, no matter what you're going through or how bad you think it is, God got you. Keep the faith, and it too shall pass. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Vi. And you know what? I gotta send. We need to send prayers up to. We reached the 500,000 mark of COVID deaths. So 500,000 souls lost. In this COVID battle. So praying for the folks. Prayers up to the folks who are battling. The people we know. Vi, you and I know. Our good friend Gary, who sent us a text on, I think, as we taped the podcast on Sunday, last Monday, he went through it for a couple of weeks with his wife. So he's finally up and around. So, y'all double mask. They're talking wear your mask, double mask up now with all these mutant strains. We need to really be vigilant, and stay on it. So
but we still not taking it serious, though.
Yeah, I know.
I'm talking to this young lady. She went to Florida this weekend. I'm looking up what she said, but they're actually not wearing masks down there.
No, I'm a double mask. And for that reason, I'm out. When I go out, it's a double mask. I ain't gonna even play with it. I don't even play with them. I just keep going. I just keep it moving. All right, y'all. Again, want to say thank you. Big thanks. And I'm going to give her kudos one more time. Councilwoman Rene. I'll make sure I have the link to the NAACP on our website if you want to definitely get involved, become a member, or make some donations. Again, you can feed us back, 413-556-9546, 413-556-9546. Would love to hear from you. And, Vi, thank you so much, man. Welcome back. I know, I know you'll be out doing half marathons by next week. You'll be good to go. And Tonya B, thank you so much for what you do. Keep on cooking. I can't wait to taste the cooking. You send the pictures and just spoil my weekend with that great food that you're doing over there. Y-O, keep doing your thing, Y-O. I didn't get a poem in this week, but can we get a poem next week? You think we can get one?
That'd be great. That'd be great.
And you choose the topic, maybe because it's like the end of Black History Month. Do something for Black History Month to take us out on Black History Month. How about that?
All the time. Social justice.
You know it. Good stuff. All right, y'all. With that, episode 70 is in the can, and we are out of here. Peace.
Hallelujah. Stay woke. Wear your mask.
Wear your mask, people.
You've been listening to the G Podcast with your host, Tonya B. The G Podcast is a production of the Castropolis Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.